Hello, welcome back. I'm excited to have you here for week 4 of KHS 390. Last week we talked about trends in sports, maybe even broader trends in fitness and wellness and sports and recreation. And we had a chance to dig into that, and I hope you enjoyed it. That's always a fun topic. So this week we're going to move into week 4 and management functions, and I'm calling this part 1. Because the functions will actually span week 4 and week 5. So I'll give you a piece of the information this week with some activities, and then next week we will continue to work on sport management functions and do the second part. So as we look ahead at this week, of course, make sure you are reading your front office sports, viewing the PowerPoints, and looking ahead at the discussion boards. The discussion board initial posts, again, are due Thursday by 7 p.m. with at least 2 peer responses per question due Sunday by 7. As we start this 2-week section on functions you would find in sport management, I just want to give you a quick overview of what we're going to tackle. We're going to talk about communication, then marketing, then finance, and then facility and event management. All of these different functions or tasks or specific job pieces that you can do in any of the settings that we discussed in sport and recreation. Just a caveat at the end that, of course, there's going to be other functions that pop up, but these are the key 4 areas we will be talking about. Starting with the first function of communication. Communication, it's just such an integral, everyday part of our lives that it's easy for us to overlook how complex it really is to communicate. So we'll spend the first few minutes of this PowerPoint specifically looking at communication. When we talk about communication in sports settings, we're talking about everything from that conversation from an event manager with a volunteer. It could be with the key speaker. It could be with people who work in facilities. It could be, like it says here, regarding logistics of hospitality. Where do you want the food? Where do you want the drinks? What kind of lighting do you want? What kind of furniture do we need in the waiting room? What kind of assistance you need from us as people as we host this event? It could be posting new information on your website. It could be the presentation of a live event on TV. It truly is multidimensional. To define communication, we will use this final statement from the Peterson et al. In 2007, where they said communication within sports is a process by which people in sport or a sports setting or through a sport endeavor share symbols as they create meaning through interaction. So what kind of meaning do you create through interactions? As we look at this or we reflect on that question, we want to talk about making a positive first impression. And that is the 7-11 principle. Did you know that in the first 7 seconds you meet somebody, they make 11 decisions about you? 7 seconds. So it's critical to create a positive response during those initial 7 seconds. A couple of things to think about it. Your appearance. It's the first thing people will judge you on, and it's often a judgment that's made before you even say anything or have an interaction. People are always observing you. They're watching you when you're at work, or they're watching you when you're simply doing nothing at all. So think about, if I were to meet you, what decisions or assumptions would I make about you in those first 7 seconds? So we know in those first 7 seconds that there are different communication methods that we might be using. We might be writing, we might be speaking, right? We might be using our body language. And we know there are various methods for communication when it comes to working in sports and recreation. I listed a few examples. Print, we have newspapers, we have magazines, we have books, we have websites, we have the electronic, we got the TVs, the radios, the film, the photography. We have media, all the internet-based websites that are out there, blogs, the social networking. I ended it with a comma because it just goes on and on. Within sports, if you want to work in this field, communication is key because we do communicate in various ways. When we talk about communication, there are a couple of discussion boards this week, and I just wanted to quick give a little shout out because the first one does ask you to dig into your front office sports and look for examples of people or positions and analyze what kind of communication they're using. Is it someone who's recognized and being highlighted in FOS because of the verbal communication? Is it more about written? If you were to have that position and work with that person, which one do you think would be more important? And the second discussion board is an interview that we just recently conducted with an alumni named Cole Schuschler. I put this in because as he's talking about his job, wow, his style of communication really impacts his work. So hopefully, as you're watching his video and reflecting on his interview, you'll get a little deeper insight into communication. What I want you to reflect on at this moment is what are you better at? Do you think you're better at writing? Do you think you're better at verbal? Would you be good on the spot, having to think on your feet and respond? Or are you someone that you're really particular, your grammar's really good and you love writing? So as you think about that, think about the career positions and where your strengths in communication might best fit. One final slide here as we talk about communication is this pie grid. It's the impact of a message and knowing that what you say, the actual words, what you choose to say, right? That is 7% of your message. How you say it, the tone of your voice actually is really important because that's 38%. And then how you look, your body language, 55%. So if you're looking at how to deliver constructive criticism, you may say you're doing a really good job, right? So the tone of your voice kind of sets that up. But there's a few things that you need to work on, right? So the tone, it's you're doing constructive criticism, the words are there, but how you say it carries a lot of weight. And then your body language. Are you in someone's face saying, hey, you've got some things you need to work on, right? You're getting a little more aggressive. You're getting in their space. That 55%, your body language is going to have a large impact on the message you're giving. Again, as we're looking at the functions in sport management, we're focusing on the top 4: communication, marketing, finance, facility, and event management. So the second part of this presentation is going to focus on the marketing function. So what do we mean by sport marketing? Let's start with this definition from the Pitts and Stotler 2007 sport marketing textbook. They said sport marketing is the process of designing and implementing activities for the production, pricing, promotion, and distribution of a sport product or business. We want to satisfy the desires and the needs of our consumers and achieve our company's objectives. So often when we think about sport marketing, we think it's just about selling, but there is a lot more to it. And why is that? Why is marketing for events, sporting events, so unique when we look at marketing for other products? We talked a little bit about this back in week 1 about the uniqueness of working in sport. And we talked about things like we're selling an event, right? We don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know who's going to play. We don't know who's going to win. We don't know how long the event will even go for. And yet we are selling it. So we're selling something we have little control over. We also talked about how With a sporting event, you are having your consumers simultaneously consume it while it's being produced, right? And there's no satisfaction guaranteed. Your team may lose. It is a very emotional, people get very passionate about their sport products or their events, their teams. And so it is unique to work in the field of sport marketing. So if you were to work in sport marketing, you would be asked to be a part of creating a marketing plan. And that is a roadmap of your organization's marketing activities. Often we hear it called the 4 Ps of marketing, right? Product, price, place, promotion, which if you look back to the previous slide, the definition, you'll see those 4 Ps are in there. But we also have others that say, what about purpose? Shouldn't we start with the purpose, one additional P? And then there are others that work in sport marketing that say 4 or even 5, not enough. We need to have 10 Ps when it comes to putting together a marketing plan because we want that roadmap to be very, very detailed and we want it to guide all of our marketing activities. So let's take a look at the 4 Ps, the 5 Ps, the 10 Ps, and talk about which one is correct. So first we just start with the 5 Ps. The 5 Ps is purpose, product, price, place, and promotion. And I really love this first one. If I were going to have a marketing plan, I would say, what is the goal we are trying to achieve? Is it to have 1,000 students attend our sporting event on Friday? Is it to offer a community event that raises $1,000? Is it to expose consumers to a new brand of beer that the local brewery is selling, right? What is the purpose? And once you define that, then it's easier to go through detailing the product. So what is the tangible good or the service, right? That will help satisfy what the consumer needs or wants. Of course, the 3rd P is always pricing. What's the value? What are we going to price this at? Place it. How are we going to distribute it? How is the fan or the client, the consumer, going to be able to get a hold of tickets or come to our event or buy this product? And then the 5th one in the 5 Ps of marketing is all about promotion, which is so often when students say they want to work in sport marketing, they really focus on promotion, right? They want to work on website design or social media content. And that is part of promotion, but that is just one of the Ps in the marketing plan. Promotion is about communicating, informing, persuading, and motivating consumers to purchase our product or to come to our event. And even more recently, marketing professionals have said 4 Ps, good, it's just a tiny step. Add your purpose, awesome, helps to define our marketing plan a little better, but we want even more Ps, right? We need 10. And so just very quickly, I wanted to share the 10 because you still see purpose and product as the top 2 steps. But then there is number 3, projecting the product market. If you've ever been in a class where you've done a SWOT analysis, you know it's about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats internally and externally for your organization. Number 4 is positioning, getting the sport product into the mind of your consumers. And if you are interested in branding, positioning is the part of the plan you would be a part of. I love number 5, picking your players. Because if we don't know who our target consumers are, how do we know how to put together our marketing plan? And then there's packaging the product. How are we going to package and sell this? And if it's tickets, right? What if it's tickets to an event? Are we going to do e-tickets, paper tickets? Are we going to deliver the tickets with a ribbon wrapped around them, right? How are we going to package that product? Again, pricing it, number 7, is the same P as we saw previously, along with promotions, number 8. 9, placing it, those are the distribution channels, how the consumer will be able to obtain the product. And then number 10, so critical. When you are done, let's say your marketing plan is going to run 6 months. At the end of those 6 months, you want to look back. You want to evaluate and see, did you reach the promise that you set out in this plan? Was it successful? Was it effective? And what changes would you do if you were to run this same marketing plan again? And that wraps up the first two functions of communication and marketing in sport management. As we look ahead at this week, please make sure, again, finish up this PowerPoint, review your front office sports, and dig into those two discussion boards. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful week.